Okay, it's Nick Dutch here. I did a Ouija board seance recently and I got some interesting responses from it, and I just want to have a look at them and just talk about them. For whatever reason, due to the highly intellectual and well planned system that we have with YouTube and Google Plus at the moment, I can't actually respond to comments. And I've tried a few tricks and they didn't just seem to work on my setup and on my Chrome browser, and I don't know what's going on. Google, if you're watching this, kind of thing, you know? I mean, it's upsetting. But let's get on with the comments. Now, remember, I'm just talking about what the commenters are saying. I'm not saying anything against the commenters. And hopefully I'll be able to do this video without a call coming in, so I won't get interrupted. But if I do get interrupted, I'll stop the video and I'll start all over again. Or I'll do a second half and tag it on and Windows Movie Maker it into something which is vaguely watchable. Okay. The video that I did was called Summoning a Werewolf with the Ouija Board. Okay? And yeah, it's for the short period of time it's been up there, it's done relatively well, which is not bad. But let's think about what people are saying when they're looking at this one particular idiomotor experience, because you know, I'm actually a very skeptical individual. I've had very strange experiences which would suggest all kinds of things, but I can't say for sure whether those things are solid or real. I mean, when you believe something is true, do not assume that your beliefs are somehow an expression of fact. Okay, because whatever is true in the universe will always be, to a certain extent, at odds with human opinion, even the opinion of science, because science itself has grown and expanded a lot over the past century and will carry on doing so into the future. And in 100 years' time, the scientists of that era will look back at what the scientists of this era are saying and will be able to disprove a lot of the scientific ideas. So, from a scientific point of view, all of science is merely a statement of what appears to be true under certain specific circumstances at the moment. And when we move into the more amorphous, more, you know, amoeba-like kind of like ideas which are present within spiritualism or occultism, which are primarily based upon either theology or personal experience, it's even more woolly. Okay, the actual whatever the heck is true becomes even more woolly. So if you got a belief about something and you believe that that thing is true, in reality that says something about your cognitive or your intellectual perception of a apparent reality, or a seeming reality, rather than a actual system of facts. This is what you got to bear in mind. Now, the first comment here says, don't you think it's dangerous messing with the Ouija board? No, I don't. It says here, I've had loads of bad luck with it. No offense, mate, you're a nice guy. Just be careful. No one knows who we're communicating with. Now, that sentence there, no one knows who we're communicating with, is accurate. We don't know. And if we don't know, then we don't really have anything to be afraid of when dealing with something which could in fact just be psychological. We have no idea. I promoted the video as being an idiomotor experiment. I see it as an idiomotor experiment. I don't see it as anything else, because I don't think there's any point, because we haven't really got any hard and fast facts. Now, the commenter goes on to says, check out Laura Maxwell, ex-spiritualist. She tells of mediums, including herself, who became possessed. Her mum ended up being sectioned and committed. Now, what Laura Maxwell has done, if this commenter is correct, is to have jumped to a very strong belief, okay, that she had a personal experience which therefore meant something which she believed was true, namely the experience that she had was her being possessed. And therefore, in her mind's eye, okay, there was a separate consciousness which had somehow overshadowed or controlled her body. But this, to my understanding, would be her intellectualization about what she thinks that particular strange experience was about. And therefore it says something about her ability to discern fact from fiction, truth from lies experience from reality, because experience and what we experience and we understand from the experience and what is actually true as a result of like working stuff out is very different. Okay, so she's someone who is selling a belief, she's selling a religious point of view, she's selling a superstition, all right, that yeah, this thing is evil. No, it's not evil. It's a fucking piece of cardboard, for Christ's sakes. Alright? Yeah. It's... The Ouija board is dominated by superstition. Right? Just the whole world out there is just full of people with superstitions and mythologies to try and scare people into buying them, or to scare people into buying books about them, and therefore it keeps the economy going. So that's a good thing. But on the other hand, it's still selling belief, a particular form of belief. And belief itself is different to knowledge and fact. Alright? It always will be. And people like this, Laura Maxwell, are trying to encourage people to, through a negative emotion in this particular case, hang on to and accept a belief point of view rather than the search for the truth. Okay? Even people like James Randi talk about the ideomotor effect and say that, yeah, the ideomotor effect is how the Ouija seance actually operates. I say it's because of the ideomotor effect. So think about where I'm coming from here about this one particular subject and why I'm coming from that point of view. Do I believe in spirits? I may. Do I know that they exist? Certainly not. There are people who say that they know. Oh yeah, and they always do so very wide-eyed, smiley, and yeah, because that's the way that people who are running cults operate. Okay, it's a way of convincing people. It's a sales tactic. It's selling an idea. It's trying to convince you of something which might not actually be true. So I want you to be critical of people like Laura Maxwell. I want you to think about that she is someone who is selling a belief. Okay? Right. Okay, and I like the way that you like your real coffee, because that's cool. Alright, now let's go on to the next one. When I was very young, a friend of mine had that thing in her family's closet along with other board games. It always gave me a creepy feeling when I looked at it. Well, okay, if you're creeped out by it, don't do it. But please do yourself and other people a favor by being critical. Okay, by being critical of what this thing is about, okay? Now, the next one, I mean, it's just before we go on to the next one, just being critical, full stop. Especially when someone's trying to sell you a hard belief, when what I'm trying to do is trying to convince you of not having hard beliefs, but instead trying to be happier with a more, I suppose, agnostic interpretation of spiritualism or spiritualistic related things, which I think is healthier, and it also removes from you the power over your mind that people who are trying to sell you fear actually have, okay? They actually do have a power over you when they're making you afraid and they're trying to adjust your beliefs and your values through like emotions and superstition and all that kind of jazz. So put your skeptical, rational, scientific mind on when you come across like videos or books or people who say, oh no, scary, evil, the spirit of the Ouija is evil. Alright, there's actually a guy on YouTube who did a series of Ouija board videos, and in another video later he says, oh, the spirit of the Ouija board is evil. Then he went back to doing more Ouija board videos. I mean, for fuck's sake. Please forgive me for swearing, but... Oh, God. Alright. The next one says, I had a Ouija board when I was a kid around 12 years old, and it was made by the Parker Brothers board game company. Is it possible for something like that to work? Yes, it's the ideomotor effect. You don't have to have a cool looking one, okay, with silver letters and mystical looking symbols on it, Take a piece of A4 paper and a clip frame and use a penny piece as your planchette. Penny piece is your whatever. Okay, it's the ideomotor effect. You just get used to using it. You know, do the equivalent of handwriting practice with it whenever you're watching TV or listening to music at the end of a day. You know, spell out things which have got all the letters of the alphabet in it, so your mind knows where the letters are, and your eyes know where the letters are, and your fingers and your muscle memory knows where the letters are, and then practice it when doing weird stuff. You know, anything. It's an ideomotor experience, okay? It's an ideomotor effect experience connected with a mythology of the consciousness of the being that you're trying to, assuming that you're going to try and communicate with. And you don't know whether it's real or not, because none of us do, especially those who go around telling you, oh yes, they exist, the old gods exist, yes, the angels exist. So we don't know if the angels exist. I may believe in them, I may not believe in them. But the fact of the matter is there are some strange experiences which can be had, but a strange experience is a strange experience. It's not necessarily a proof of hard and fast facts of the way the universe works. We don't know what is hard and fast and factual, because there's very few hard and fast facts in a subject which is quite so amorphous and vague and based upon personal experiences or religious interpretations as all of this weird spiritualist fun stuff which I play around with. But it's a laugh. That's why I do it. I enjoy this sort of thing. It's my recreation. It's curious, but it's not a fact. Okay. Then the next part of the comment says, or does it need to be made a certain way or blessed to come from a certain place for the board to really work? Well, when it comes to the phrase "it works," don't fucking use it. All right, and don't assume because someone turns around to you and says "this works" means that it does. All right, because it's a very stupid phrase, and it expresses a certain level of hard and fast truth claims. Like I've said before, you have something electrical, and it's like a light switch. You know, you can turn it off, you turn it on, that works. Okay, hard and fast concrete, turn it off, turn it on, that works. But is your playing around with dowsing pendulums and Ouija boards as reliable? No, of course it fucking isn't. All right, so you can't use the phrase "it works." And if you do, for someone from the outside looking at you saying that, it makes you look like a total twat, basically. So throw that phrase out of the picture and just see yourself as an experimental occultist and not someone who is in touch with truth and reality, because you're not. None of us are. None of us. No one. And if something, oh, you got to do your circle this way, got to do your candle burning this way. They are wankers. I mean, seriously, they're fucking undesirable people who are trying to cult you up. All right? They say they got the solution to all your problems. Their magic works. Yeah. Fuck them. Fuck the loss of them. All right? Because it's wrong to talk like that to anybody. It's immoral, it's unintelligent, it's unintellectual, it's holding back any form of scientific research into any of this weird stuff anyway, because it's making anyone who's interested in weird stuff look fucking mental. So fuck it. Now, I see this as a psychological exercise, because that's all we can really do. So as far as if you did bless it in a certain way that felt comfortable with your traditions and your psychology or your spirituality or your whatever, and if it was taken to a certain place or made in a certain place, maybe that would give it more, you know, subconscious, psychological something or other when you're doing meditation and other weird stuff with it. So maybe from a psychological point of view, yeah, it should be from a certain place. Okay? Maybe psychologically it should be from a certain place or made in a certain way with certain symbols put on it. But that's for you. And you and your own twisted, sick, fucked up mind. Like I've got mine from my own twisted, sick, fucked up mind, okay? So, you know, enjoy it. You know, cover it with pentagrams. Cover it with, I don't know, devil's heads or symbols of the god and the goddess or a Christian cross or a Star of David or whatever it is that makes you think, oh, this is special. This is special. You know, because that's the psychology working for you. It's a psychological exercise, okay? Chillax. Alright, chillax. When you don't know something, you don't know something. And you have to accept that you don't know it. And never assume that because you believe that something is true, that you're right. look after yourself.